it don't look as black on the camera. Nah. You can, yeah, I know. I can see it here. It's black as Harry's hat. Covering something out of date.
It's November 3rd, 2016. I'm going to do a couple videos yet this before the end of the week, and working hard on the website and doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's been a struggle for me. I'm sorry, guys. It just has been. But anyway, I wanted to jump in here on November 3rd and just talk about the chemtrails. Like yesterday, that you could not see the sky. There was a halo, etc., etc. And today, nothing. And I just think it's bizarre how some days we see a lot of activity, the big red halo, and other days we don't. And I'm wondering if that's because they have to turn on that sun lamp on certain days because of certain things coming into view, and other days they don't have to worry about it. I don't know. What do you guys think? So here's what I wanted to talk about, though, first today, and that is just the number of mainstream news outlets that are talking about Planet X, okay? Here's a story from Huffington Post talking about on 10/21 about the mysterious tilt of the sun. Here's another one that talks about Earth-sized planets with abundant water are statistically around red dwarfs. Why are we so interested and fixated on red dwarfs lately, right? I mean, all of a sudden we're talking about planets with water and life around them. I'm sorry, suns with water and life around them, like a red dwarf. Interesting. Here's one, closing in on a giant ghost planet from the Scientific American. Again, you can't get any more mainstream. So, Scientific American, you big freaking deceiver trying to tell us that there's a big Nibiru coming around the corner. How dare you, Scientific American, try to make fear in all the people. Dudes, it's coming, man. They're telling us straight up that it's coming now, okay? Straight up! Look at this one, this big fireball. You want to know something about this big green fireball that the Telegraph reported on 2nd of November? We've been seeing that big green fireball in Alaska for the last 4 months, guys. So this isn't really news to me. This is the news catching up to us. And quite frankly, it's because we collaborate and we're a big community. That's why we know things. This next thing is I've been getting a lot of reports of a object right before sunrise. It takes a flashing form or sometimes blue, like in this video from Augusto. And somebody had gotten some shots of it. So let me show you how I investigate something like this. So so you can do it yourselves, guys. So when I get a picture and they say, okay, it's right before sunrise, we think that we're seeing something that's not normal, not right. So what I'll do is I'll go to the solar system scope, solarsystemscope.com, and I'll click on this little telescope here, and it shows me where Jupiter was at sunrise, where I'm at in the world, right? And so I'm suspecting that what you're seeing is possibly Jupiter. Now, what makes that ominous is the area of this activity, which is right in the Virgo area, okay? And as we know, prophetically, Jupiter is supposed to come down here, and it's supposed to have meaning a lot of meaning in terms of what we're talking about. So just kind of keep an eye on that stuff. But I'm pretty sure that we might have been seeing Jupiter in those pictures, guys. Not trying to be a troll or anything, but I just don't know. Really interesting, guys. So Captain Ron is staying with me the last couple days, and we've been doing a lot of research together and looking at some of the older photographs that we both had now that we understand the lensing system better. And we know that now like for example, this blue orb is probably a back behind the sun, but it's being obfuscated or covered by the lensing system. So we started looking at this blue orb a little bit closer, and check it out, man. We found this like feature on this blue ball on the 18th. And then we found several pictures. This one's from the 13th and another one from the 22nd with the exact same feature on it. That is weird, because if it was a lens flare, I'm sure we wouldn't get the same, weirdness, would we, on two complete different days of photographing it? So I'm wondering if this is some kind of a feature of the planet itself, or the other thing it could be is a reflection of some kind of a weird reflection of the sun too. But I think that's less likely, because we would see more of the features of the sun, not just one big coronal hole or sunspot up there, I guess. So check out this. Interesting. I think this is from Norway. And, again, here is further proof that Jeff P. and what we've been learning here on WSO is completely true. There is a Fresnel lens. Go back 2 episodes, download the white paper, you guys. It's worth the read. This Fresnel lens is spinning. There it is, okay? What it's doing is it's taking the focal point of what's behind the sun away from us. However, The shields are failing and they're not able to cover it anymore, you guys. The second feature I want you to notice about this photograph is, remember how I showed you how you can see the mechanism that's driving light by doing the experiment with the flashlight a couple times ago? Well, here's what's going on here. This is definitely a lens flare, but it's on purpose. So you've got a spinning Fresnel lens that's basically spinning around really, really fast, and it's causing a super duper light refraction all the way around it. See? So really what you're seeing here, guys, is a couple different objects behind the sun. This one directly. This one is up there. We just don't know where because the Fresnel lens, I'm guessing it's probably in this area because that's where we keep seeing it every day. And just again, this is just more evidence of this artificial light system trying to deceive us and make God into a liar. You know, here's one of those pictures you get and you go, oh man, that's probably a lens flare, right? And it's not in the right spot for Jupiter, by the way. It could be the moon though. But what's interesting about this, and this is what I look for in these types of photographs, is I look for the reflections. And sure enough, there we do. We see the little round reflection there in addition to the sun. So that is definitely a real object. The question is what it is, right? So interesting. Thanks for the photograph. Telling shot of that green orb, right, that we've been seeing all over the place. Again, you know, no wonder they don't want us to talk about lens flares, right? Now it makes perfect sense to me that they want to degrade anything that's a flare, because that's the only thing we're going to be able to see out of that system. So one of my critics, Kev Baker, he actually said to me, he goes, on the website, he goes, you're telling me that people are going to capture an incoming planet with a 99, you know, like with a Samsung phone or whatever, right? And I'm like, yeah, because sometimes they make a mistake and we get to see it clearly, and that's what those pictures are that we see. Most of the time you can't, though, because they got a big spinning Fresnel lens in front of everything, spinning light everywhere. How are you supposed to see it? Sometimes, though, when the sun's going down, we catch a good, clear glimpse of what's there. And I think that's what we're seeing here in this recent photograph. Charlie is excited. And so what we're seeing here is we're actually seeing an object as opposed to the Fresnel lens or that black dot that we usually see. This is actually the sun is down, and this is the object remains. So that's a pretty good view of it. Thank you from that subscriber in Norway. Okay, now it's time for a little bit of comfort because we're talking about scary stuff. And it's brutal truth. It is the biggest story in the history of this epoch of man. I understand that. And I understand it's scary on one level. On another level, I want you to think about it this way. This is the time that we are going to get this planet cleansed. And I know that a lot of religions agree with me, but I agree from the standpoint of the book of Revelation in the Bible, where God talks about that he's going to cleanse the earth with fire. And the good news is that if you're in the arms of Jesus Christ or in the arms of Yeshua during that time, it's said to see that we're going to actually have a seal on our foreheads that will cause, that sounds wild, right? That we will actually be, not allowed to be touched on many of these things. That's what the Bible says, right? I'm not trying to give you, say, hey, run to Jesus because, that's a place where you won't get bit by bugs. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that the only place of refuge for your soul in the spiritual, in the material, in the financial, in the family, in any of those places, that connection, that picture of God, of the Creator, of the Source, of the main dude, of the way, of the Holy Spirit, that picture came through Yeshua for us, so that we can make a connection with the true power of the universe, who, by the way, just happens to love you. And he, relative term, loves you so much. So here's what I would like you to do as a favor to me and to the world, really. I need you to just get quiet, really quiet. Find the quietest place you can find and just get super duper duper quiet as you can be. If thoughts come into your head, just let them go back out the other way. Just ignore all your thoughts and just get as quiet as you can before God. And when your heart is settled and you're all relaxed and you're breathing nicely and you're focused on who is this being, who is God, reaching your heart out, and you start to see the picture, you'll feel the peace entering in as you invite the Lord into that session. That's called prayer. And then